What's up, guys? Today I'm going to take you through a recruiting graphic that I made. I recorded it, so I'm going to use speed art to kind of show you like everything that I did in a couple hours span, but hopefully get it all wrapped up into like 10 minutes. So yeah, this is a recruiting graphic that I made based on the movie Godzilla vs. Kong that's coming out, or that already came out. But yeah, it's for App State recruiting. So without further ado, here we go. So I started by finding a pretty generic picture of a football player, of course, because it's a football team. So the goal here is to get a generic football player and then make them look even more generic by removing markings, jersey numbers, all that sort of thing. Just clean up a little bit of the kind of visible areas where you can see that I edited it. But yeah, so I found this picture of, this is actually Charlotte, found it online, and then kind of tried to use this picture to recreate the city that is in the movie poster. Not exactly, but this is like a local city, so it's like the biggest city in North Carolina. So I figured that would work. And then just to try to make it a little more interesting, I used different buildings and kind of like spread them throughout and blended them in. To try and hide the player more, because I moved him a little bit throughout the process. And then I found another picture with like water beside a city, and then I just took the city out and used the water because like that's how it looks in the poster. And luckily the lighting and the water like almost goes along with how the buildings look in the picture of Charlotte that I used, so that kind of worked out well. And then I kind of like color everything as I put it in. I used selective color to kind of match the colors of everything. I also use some of the LUTs that Photoshop has to kind of blend everything together and see how it's going to look. Then here I'm just using a smoke brush to kind of fog up and like smoke up the city. I think in the poster it's like on fire and there's just kind of like smoke and ash and stuff everywhere. And then that's just another kind of city sky background that I placed behind it, and then there I'm doing the reflection in the water. But yeah, so kind of trying to make everything look as intimidating and dark and kind of scary as possible. And then I kind of moved the football player around a bunch, and of course he doesn't have like a lower half, so I had to cover that up with smoke and kind of blend him in with the smoke in the city in the background as well. Of the football, I decided to use a football. I'm using this as a good luck graphic for these kids who are playing in high school games, so there's not really a way. Everything has to be very generic because I'm using this for like a bunch of different people. So instead of Godzilla being in the water, it's just going to be a football. And then with these two layers, I'm just using them to create some texture in the water and kind of make it look like the football is actually there with some ripples. Coloring it a little bit to blend it in a little more. But yeah, like I said, so instead of being like Godzilla versus Kong, it'll be like that player in the city there would be the athlete that this is going to, and then the ball is just like a replacement for Godzilla in the water. because I can't put like each of their opponents in the water. I didn't really know what to do. I had a couple of different ideas, but the football was just kind of the easiest and I felt the best thing to go with. And kind of looked at some reference images to see how a ball would look floating in the water, and a lot of them had the reflections, so which makes sense. So I reversed the football picture and then blurred it out a little bit and tried to blend it in with the water. Wanted to spice up the football player look a little bit and make him look a little more evil and kind of take away from it being a real thing, just to kind of give it that like evil, monster vibe or whatever, kind of make it less human, more of like a scary movie poster. So I used these eyes, took away the black around them, and then put a glow. I ended up making them white and then giving glow around them, which kind of gives it a more realistic like brightness vibe with the color around it. It's kind of like more realistic to how it would look. And then our color is yellow, so we use like orangey yellows a lot, and so I mean I'll kind of mess around with the color more here in a bit, but found this picture on Google just to use the mouth to go along with the scary eyes, and just lining that up, and I change that to the yellow as well. Fire and kind of explosive images to make it look like there's more destruction happening without it looking like super fake like it does right now. But I use different blending modes to kind of blend that in with the background, and then using the color that I put on it later makes it a little more realistic too. And then here I'm just trying to match the city and the brightness of the lights to the movie poster a little more. I noticed in the poster it was dark, but the lights were very bright. Actually should have probably done something else there, but yeah, I ended up just using a camera raw filter. And then I put some smoke down below with a low opacity to kind of blend it together there a little bit more. And here I'm just painting the edges of the buildings. I'm terrible with lighting and where it shows up and where colors show up, but I'm kind of using the reflection of the fire on the buildings here, and I'm just using a blending mode to kind of blend that in a little better. Here I'm just painting each side, trying to see what looks the most realistic. Trying to kind of match it with the movie poster, with like the teal and orange of the movie poster, but kind of give it our vibes a little more with like yellows and blacks maybe. But yeah, anyway, I'll let you watch the last little bit of this here. I just put some text and things on it, and then later on I put on our markings and a few more filters to give it a more app state look. But yeah, that's basically it. So if you guys like this video, like it. Go ahead and ask questions if you have them in the comments. Feel free to tell me if you hated it or loved it. It's definitely not perfect, but it's cool looking, and that's what the kids want. So feel free to subscribe as well, especially if you want to see more stuff like this, or even photography, videography, personal edits, that sort of thing. I do all kind of stuff. So